Alrighty guys, Azek here bringing us another Dragon Ball Legends TOP guide video, hopping in for Season 20. So last season we ended off with this regeneration team right here. We got into the top 1000. I believe we ended off at rank 650. So we were able to not only secure the 1000 CC, right, that juicy CC, but we also got the top cut title. I'm not too worried about the titles here, I'm more so worried about the CC, but we'll still go ahead and take that nonetheless. So that being said, before we go into the top teams, as always, there will be timestamps in the description down below. Alright, so the first team that I want to talk about is going to be LOE, and I'm actually excited to talk about LOE for once, right? So getting right into it, let's go ahead and talk about the brand new Chilled and his Zenkai stats, right? We can go ahead and display his maximum stats, so we'll give him all his Zenkai stuff. Let's go over his kit a little bit. So first of all, he applies debuffs to the enemy board on the first row right there, or not on the first row, in the middle row, right? He gets key recovery. He already has extremely high key recovery, right? So let's go ahead and actually start from the stats right here. So all the way Zenkai 7, right? Only at Friendship Rank 2, 2,766 key restore speed. That's only at Friendship Rank 2, right? It caps out at rank 10, remember. You do want to get it up to rank 10 for whatever units you're going to be using. That's extremely high. That is extremely good. Not only that, he'll be getting Zenkai boosted by the Zenkai LF Frieza as well, right? And then, so he has all that, all these debuffs, it's pretty nice. And then he also has this ability right here where Beware the Golden Saiyan, where he's a supporting, right? Because he is a support type. At the end of the turn, multi-target, you get 30% to your own special move gauge. That is huge. It only activates once, but it's still huge nonetheless. We'll take that. Any kind of special move generation, especially if it's straight to gauge, there's a difference between where it goes 30% to your gauge or 30% to rate, your gauge rate. Right? Because gauge is like you're instantly getting it. That's what you want right there. Rate is still good when you go into your gauge rate, but it's not going to be as impactful, right? You also get 20% to damage inflicted by allied tag Lineage of Evil. And then on special move arts, this is where it's really interesting. On special move arts, you cancel your enemy's buff effects. Right? So say you save up his blue card, you hit your blue card on the blue Gohan, you're going to cancel his effect in that first turn, in which he takes all the focus in that first turn, right? So I see the strategy here being that you basically want to save the blue card with Chilled and use it on that blue Gohan. That way, you basically take away his little ability where he takes all the aggression on that first turn, and then you can immediately start wailing on the Goten, right? And then on special move arts hits, he also inflicts can't attack for one turn. Not only that, he also has a really good Z ability, 20% to max base health, 18% to critical of tag Lineage of Evil during battle. That is absolutely massive. So this is how I would set it up right here personally, and this is how the rank 40 player would set it up as well. So obviously I think free-to-play Frieza is a must-have. He's free-to-play after all, he's really good. He has a self-heal right here, and you need that self-heal, right? After receiving an attack, once your health is below 50% or below, you restore your health by 3%. I mean, it's not a lot, but he's also providing support. That's the main shtick of this team, in my own opinion, is that they do so much damage to Saiyans, and that they just support each other overall. Even down to the Zenkai EX Frieza right here, he has a full board support ability, right? And I would say for your red units, if you have the Zenkai Metal Cooler, definitely bring him in. He actually has a decent key restore speed without, right? Without the Zenkai, 2,500, so it's going to go ahead and get even higher with the Zenkai. And then you also have another buff against Super Saiyan. He also heals himself. Metal Cooler is extremely good for this. Obviously, LF Frieza is a no-brainer. He has support, and he also has a full board cover change, right? For a backup, I would put in this DBS Frieza. Me personally, right? I would put in this DBS Frieza just because of the fact that I really like his ability where he uses his green card, I believe, on the start of the first turn. Yep. And he inflicts your enemy with can't attack. He's very disruptive, but the only thing being is that he is one of the few units that is in S tier, right? So you probably would lose a little bit of points from using him. And then we also have this yellow Frieza right here who has blue card generation, right? So after activating his green card, he gets 100% to his special move gauge. The way to get that special action is by receiving a blast art. So not only is he mitigating a blast attack, but he's also gaining a special move from it, right? Which is absolutely massive. So I wanted to go ahead and take a little bit of time right there just to go ahead and just say how good this team is for TOP right here. I actually think I could run this team and get into the top 25%, even with realistically, I only have the two Zenkais, right? I'm only gonna have Chilled Zenkai, the free-to-play EX Zenkai, and then obviously I did get lucky right here with the LF Frieza Zenkai, but I think this is pretty solid. If you guys want me to try to run this team for this season, let me know in the comments down below. Alright, for the next team that I want to talk about is Regeneration. So, as you guys do know, this is the team I was running last time. Not exactly the same, but pretty much very similar, right? So, I truly believe at this point that Regeneration is the best all-around team in the entire game for ToP specifically, right? There's just so many options that you have right here. So many free-to-play options, right? And so let's go ahead and talk about, in terms of new characters, the Purple 21 Zenkai. So, once again, we'll go ahead and display her max stats right here. She's still good, right? The thing about Purple 21 is the Zenkai is really good for her because even before the Zenkai, she was really tanky. She was still good. She was extremely viable in ToP, right? She transforms. She gets like damage reduction. She also has a healing ability at the end of the second turn. She essentially uses her green card, right? She gets that 10% to health back, and she gets ramps up in terms of damage. She takes a little bit to build up. I think the biggest flaw with her, honestly, I think the main issue that I have with her is her key restore is really bad. Her key restore speed is only at 2,311, and even with the Zenkai stats, it really doesn't help out a lot. But that's pretty much my main critique. Now let's go ahead and get into the main focus of this team right now. As you can see right here on the right hand side as well, Blue 21. So you're gonna see a lot of Blue 21s in the top 100 and just the top leaderboards. Blue 21 is in Z tier. I can't remember the last time she was in Z tier. She was pretty much capped out in S tier. And let's go ahead and take a look at Blue 21 because I always talk about her. She's like my main unit on androids. I did not care if she was S tier or not. She was like one of the main units I would use right there, right? So at the start of turn, you get 15% to special move gauge, right? As long as they're android, 30% to key recovery if they're regeneration, 20% to damage inflicted if they're girls, and you also restore their health by 2% for tag transforming warrior. Right? So she's doing a lot, and so I would even say for this season specifically, all of the Android 21s are indeed in Z tier. So you got this free-to-play Zenkai 21, the good 21, the green one. I actually think she's really good for this game mode as well. You do need a little bit of stars on her. She can take a lot of damage, so you got to be careful. Thankfully, the blue 21 will be healing her consistently. And then you also have, well, obviously the purple 21. You're going to get a lot of heals. And if you don't want to run the purple 21, obviously you can use the Janemba. The blue 21 will still be healing the Janemba. I do believe you also need some green units in here, right? Some extra green units, that is. And so we have the Fat Boo right here on the bench, just in case I need some extra heals, because Boo Tanks is probably, I think the one thing is that maybe Boo Tanks wouldn't be appropriate on this team. I really like using Boo Tanks just because of the fact that he attacks so early on. But I am actually kind of worried about him being right here just because I don't have Blue Baby, right? I think Blue Baby was pretty good for him in terms of just sustainability. I also have both of the yellow Piccolos right here because I am just a fan favorite of both of these yellow Piccolos. But overall, you have so many options right here. If you don't have the LF Piccolo right here, you can definitely use the DKP. You can see right here on the right hand side of the screen, this guy's not even using the LF Piccolo, right? And he's ranked 13, but he is using the Zenkai DKP. If you don't have the Zenkai DKP, I think the next best option is this yellow cell. I'm praying that you guys have high stars on him, but otherwise he should do fine. Now, for reds, obviously, you do have a couple options for reds. You have this Janemba right here. You have Metal Cooler if you have him Zenkai, although he won't be giving the Z ability buff. You have the red Kid Buu in Z tier. You even have that Zenkai cell that this guy's using right here, right? But personally, I love Omega Shenron, bro. Look at his key restore speed. Keep in mind, this is at Friendship Rank 10. So just to go ahead and reiterate this, I stress the Friendship Rank a lot because we go to regular stats, and his key restore speed is only at 2,517, right? When we go to ToP stats, it jumps up all the way to 2,642. Now, if you're hopping into this just at 2,517 key restore speed, for just an example for you guys, my Omega Shenron would not be able to attack Goten Transform, the transforming Super Saiyan Goten, before he gets a super attack off. Once you get him to Friendship Rank 10 at 2,642 key restore speed, he would be able to attack that Goten, potentially killing him before he got that super attack off on turn 2. Now, in terms of greens, I know we already talked about Fat Boo, but you also have this Revival Gohan, who Pomzor, if you guys are familiar with Pomzor, he also does ToP videos over on 5-9 Gaming channel. he was the one that actually made me aware of this guy. He actually does some good stuff. You don't want him after revival. After revival, he doesn't get the regeneration buffs. You got to do everything in your power to make sure he doesn't revive. I only have him at 2 stars, so I probably wouldn't be using him. But before getting that revival off, he does some good stuff right here, right? On a strike or blast arts hit, multi-target, he restores his own health by 2%, and he also gives a 15% to damage inflicted by character Piccolo. Obviously, this is going to work extremely well on regeneration, where you do have a couple Piccolo units to choose from. I would only really do this if you're piling on the Piccolos. Like right here, I have 2 Piccolos, right? Other than that, I don't think he's too worth it overall. He's not absolutely busted, but he is definitely good. For the next team that we will be talking about, hopefully you guys did see this one coming, is androids, man. Androids are looking so good, and obviously you could tell why. It's not too different from regeneration, right? The 21s, use all of the 21s. It's the quote-unquote the horny trinity, right? Because it's all 3 of the 21s right there. They're all Z tier, and they're all really good units right here, right? Zenkai 21 purple is a free-to-play Zenkai. Obviously, we just went over her. She does a lot. And then the Zenkai 21 blue is a free-to-play unit. I think her event is on right now, so you can go ahead and acquire her. We have this green unit of the 21 goods, so we're still fulfilling the green units right here, right? You also have the 16. Now, honestly, you could swap out this 16. I think, in my own opinion, you could maybe swap him out for a Super 17 here. But personally, I feel like, for me at least, I do believe that this 18 would just absolutely flop. What you could also do here is just swap him out with the bench every now and then, and maybe even get rid of Android 18 and have 16 on here, so you can just pile on the greens, right? The more greens you have, the merrier. For sure, especially during this season where there's going to be a lot of annoying green units and stuff like that, right? I would even consider another good option here, someone that you could consider instead of the Red 18, maybe, right? This is just a maybe, is this Super, or the Fusion Android 13, right? Because he has a buff against Super Saiyans, he has decent key recovery right here. He's only at Friendship Rank 1 for me, but his key restore speed is at 2,455. I imagine that would be a lot better at Friendship Rank 10, right? But the biggest thing about this guy is that at the start of the 3rd turn, he gets a guaranteed blue cards. The ToP androids obviously are really good as well. I believe they both have some sort of blue card generation. Yeah, so right here, this 18 has 20% or 40% to special move gauge at the start of the 2nd turn, and this ToP 17 does something similar as well, if I can remember correctly. Yeah, right here at the start of the 3rd turn, 50% to special move gauge. Right, so you can obviously see right here on the right hand side, this guy has a fully stacked androids team. He's ranked number 2. Androids is eating good right now. The next team that we're going to be showing right here is Sun Family. This is probably how I would run it. I'm not too familiar with this team. I've never used this team, but I know how damn good this team is, right? Every single unit on this team is Z tier. That's why you always see them extremely high in the leaderboard, and they have amazing sustainability alongside with amazing damage output right here, right? And I think one unit that I really underrated in the last video was this Otherworld Goku. So let's go ahead and take a look at him again. So he does, it was actually pointed out to me in the comments of that last video, is that he gives key recovery to character Goten or Gohan, right? So you kind of want him in there somewhere. Like I'll probably go ahead and switch these around right here. But he is very good overall. He's also buffing the entire Sun Family, base strike and blast defense right here. He has other buffs as well. And then he also has these death buffs. Obviously, this is the only thing, this was my biggest critique with him basically, right? Is that the second ability is not that great, right? This is the one thing, because this is pretty much, he's going to be extremely annoying as an opponent. If you're fighting this guy on the board, make sure you guys are targeting him last. Right, because once you do kill him, you're going to be restoring the health of his allies. You're going to be giving them damage buffs. So he is definitely the last guy you want to go ahead and take out on the field. But this ability is really damn good. It kind of like makes up for it in a way, right? And then obviously Goten just doing Goten things. He has a super attack. This Kaioken Goku has a guaranteed super attack. This Kid Goku right here, the Zenkai Kid Goku, he uses the super attack every other fight, I believe, because he does get 50% to his special move gauge at the start of the 1st turn. And then obviously I would have a healer right here, just in case. Right, this Android 18. A lot of people use Android 18. I've seen a lot of people use this Super Saiyan Goku for the healer for this team, right? Because he restores health by 5% at the start of the 2nd turn to the blocks to the left and right of him, similar to Super Baby 2. And or the other healer, I believe that is the best healer for this team is the yellow movie Super Saiyan Goku, this guy right here, right? So he has it in this shape right here, and a little bit like this, where it kind of looks like a ship, where when he gets attacked, after receiving an attack, he restores health of allies in range by 3%, and that activates twice, right? And as well as getting 30% to his own special move gauge, but the charge rate, right? Special move gauge charge rate, so it's not just a pure 30%, but it's still an amazing unit overall. I think this team is just really stacked. I really don't think you can go wrong with this. Obviously, like, look at right here, on the guy right here on the right-hand side, he's rank number 1, and he doesn't even have his Kid Goku Zenkai. Look at this. He's performing just fine. And, you know, speaking of Zenkais, I've even seen a lot of people use this blue Gohan, this movie Gohan, purely for that just ability where he takes all of the aggression, right, on that first turn, right? The step into Dad's shoes ability where all enemies focus on him. I've seen this guy perform well just at Zenkai level 2, dude. Alright, for the final team that I want to talk about is going to be Saiyans, right? This team could easily be replaced by GT, in my opinion. GT or even Sagas from the movies. There's another team that I'm probably missing out right here on. But Saiyans. So the reason why I chose Saiyans, even though they usually don't make my list, is because I have to give them credit and say they're all around an extremely good team, and I probably don't mention them enough, right? But the thing that influenced this decision heavily is because of Angel Vegeta actually being in Z tier finally, right? He's usually not in Z tier, and he's like one of the best healers in the game, and that's the reason why, right? Because so many people use him, so many people use Saiyans, he usually goes down into lower tiers. So he has this ability where it's at the start of the third turn, you heal all of your allies by 3%. You heard me correctly, all of your allies, literally the entire board, right? And you actually have a lot of options right here. For this season, I would probably pile up on the green units, right? And so you can see right here that I would use this Goku. He does get, I think he does get blue card charge rate, yeah. So at the start of the turn, he gets 10% to special move gauge charge rate, not just the special move itself, which is unfortunate, but he still has a buff against regeneration, which is nice. He also just he restores his own health, right? Once he falls down below 50% HP. I really like this purple Vegeta a lot because he also can heal by 7%. That's a substantial amount. After receiving an attack, he restores health by 7%, activates twice. This team is just very beefy overall. The only one that I really would worry about is this Super Gogeta, right? Because I feel like he would die fairly easily, but I really like him a lot just because of the fact that at the start of the third turn, he inflicts your enemy with can attack for 1 turn, as well as getting 100% to your own special move gauge. 100%, like he's just getting that guaranteed blue card, right? And so I really do enjoy him a lot. I feel like if he got his Zenkai, he would be a mainstay on Saiyans right here, right? And then even the Super Vegeta, once he's Zenkai'd, he restores his own health by 2%. If his own health is 40% or higher, which is kind of weird, but he also gets 50% to special move gauge. So you want to keep this guy healthy, extremely healthy. Obviously, this Kaioken Goku obviously does something similar. At the start of the third turn, you get a special move. You get so many units on here that get their special move, right? Even down to this Kakarot Goku. I know this Kakarot Goku is in S tier, but he heals himself at the end of the second turn, so you got a lot of sustainability. He also gets 30% to special move gauge, just straight up to the special move gauge. 30% activates once after receiving an attack. That is damn good. And then even this Baby Vegeta. This Baby Vegeta might seem out of place, but even the guy right here on the right-hand side is bringing him in. He actually does buff Saiyan. Base strike attack, only one stat, which does kind of suck, but the unit overall is phenomenal, right? I've even used this unit on GT. He does heal himself at the start of every turn, restores health by 3%, as well as providing support. So when you want to dish out the extra damage, this is your guy. He also has very high key restore speed. If you don't have these units and you're going through, make sure you're filtering this by Z tier. You're looking through the key restore speed and trying to figure out who's going to mesh well the most with your team. Some honorable mentions right here, obviously. This guy, he's using the EX Goku. We already talked about him, right? He does have the healing ability to start at the second turn, right? You do want like extreme sustainability. The only thing with the sustainability, like it's fine and all, and it's good that they heal, but you don't really see Saiyans ranking high. You'll see them getting into the top 25%, but you don't really see them ranking high because although they heal a lot, they have a lot of sustainability, but they also take a lot of damage, right, over time, so that does hurt your overall points in the long run. But it doesn't really take away from the fact that they are just a really good, like, fleshed out team right here. So the one thing, I think my final words about this is that the only thing that really just grinds my gears about Saiyans, why I usually don't put them on the list, I already talked about it a little bit earlier when we were talking about Angel Vegeta, is because you go down in lower tiers, and it's fine. I would say don't be necessarily too scared to dip into S tier. Saiyans is one of those safe teams. They're not a high ranking team, but it's one of those safe teams to get into the top 25%. I would say don't be scared to dip into S tier, but once you start going lower in tiers, you're going to see all these units right here, right? So S tier right there, even down to A tier, you start getting really good units right here, right? Like Ultra Goku, I really like that unit a lot. Even this Rose right here, I think this Rose is really good, right? Even though he doesn't buff Saiyans, I would probably bring him if he was higher tier, just because look at this ability, 20%, or well, he cancels enemy buff effects. Right, that's going to counter that blue Gohan. We've talked about that before. He's one of the few units that can do that, like just how Chilled can do that, right? And then you go to tier B, which is really bad. This is like down bad territory. You have possibly, I don't even think it's debatable that this guy is probably the best unit in the game right here. He heals on strike or blast arts hit 2% every single time. There's no limit to that. So he gets that for 4 turns, right? You're getting 8% health back. You're also getting 10% to special move gauge every single strike or blast arts hits. You get all of this stuff, man. Like, it's absolutely crazy. Dude, like, yeah, he might be the best. And even this, started the second turn, he activates special action. You know, he can start canceling his own attribute downgrades, canceling all the enemy attribute upgrades and buff effects. It would be a lot more helpful on the first turn because of Gohan, but still, this guy's amazing. You have Gogeta 4, and you got all these units that kind of just start rotting, right? And even this Goku Vegeta actually might be the best Saiyan in the game, or the best unit in the ToP at least, right? But you start getting down here, and the reason why they get so low in tiers is because of how popular the Saiyan tag is, how many people are actually using these units in ToP, right? So that's why they get really shafted in that aspect. Alright, so in terms of map awareness, tips and tricks specifically, so the Goten and Blue Gohan teams, they are everywhere. I don't know when they're not going to be everywhere, but it doesn't look like it's going to be anytime soon. As long as this team is still meta, still like extremely relevant, we're going to constantly see this team all over the board. But basically, my answer to this team is just using those units that have extremely high key recovery in order to kill Goten before he gets his blue. Alright, so let's actually go in depth into that. Alright, so I have Goten pulled up right here, right, with his stats. These are my specific stats, though. They might not be the same as yours, because I do have him at Friendship Rank 6 as well. You guys might have him at Friendship Rank 10 or even at 1. And we look at his key restore after transforming, and look at how high it is, dude. This is why he's so annoying. That's because he attacks very early on. His key restore speed is at 2,647, right? So, but as you guys do know, I have my Goten at 12 stars. When you're fighting him in the actual ToP board, I don't think he goes higher than 6 stars or even higher than 5 stars. It's like in the 2 to 4 star range most of the time, right? Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments below. So let's actually go ahead and take a look at his regular stats transforming, because he wouldn't get the friendship rank buffs, right? So it would be around 2,570. So I think this is like around the sweet spot that you want to have your units at. This is why I talk about your key restore speed. So why it's so important, right? Because if you have a key restore speed that's going to be higher than 2,500, ideally probably around 2,600 would be the safest spot, right? You would be able to attack this Goten before he gets to go ahead and get his blue card off, which is the goal when you're going against these kinds of fights, right? This is why I always stress the importance of friendship rank, right? Because you could tell there's a visible difference right here. Like, it's right in front of you from regular stats, and then you go into ToP stats. This is just a pure increase to all of your stats. So it's not even just key restore speed. When you're looking at regular stats, just look at the health. 2.4 million. It goes to 2.5 million, right? This is incredibly important for you. So after that, I essentially just attack the Goten first, and then I go after the Gohan, because he's pretty much just weakened at that point. He's battered down at that second turn, right? And then I have to go for Kaioken Goku. I have to go for Kaioken Goku just because of the fact that he gets a blue card as well. And then I go for Red 18 because she does apply debuffs to you, right? And then I probably would go for the Super Saiyan 3 Kid Goku, and then the Abku, right? The reason why I would go for Abku last is because he gets his healing on getting attacked, right? When you attack him, that's when he starts healing up the team. And there's another team over here too. This is the only other team that I want to go ahead and talk about before we hop on out of here, is this team. I would probably just avoid this team if you see it. This team has Bootanks on it, right? It has Blue Gohan, it has Goten, it has Ella Piccolo, it has Kaioken Goku, and it has a healer. It has Red 18. I don't think they would do the most damage because there's like not really any synergy right here. But there's 4 super attacks. 4 super attacks, and I don't think you would be able to avoid all of them. Like, I think you would at the very least get hit by Bootank's super attack for sure. So I would just avoid this fight 100%. I don't really have a solution here for you guys for this one. I'm just stumped. If you have a solution for this fight, let me know, but I truly believe it's just easier to go ahead and just get this one out of your head. Just don't even try to attempt it. Alright, so that being said, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this guide video on ToP Season 20. Let me know in the comments down below what kind of team do you want me to run. I really want to run the 21s, or I want to run the LOE. I'm kind of in between those 2 teams right now. But if you think that I should run another team, and you think that I have a viable team for it, then I'll go ahead and do that for my walkthrough. So stay tuned for those, part 1 and 2. I usually do them once I have 13 energy for that first part, and then 12 energy for the final part. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and hop on out of here. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Later!